welcome back to the Scarlet Faithful podcast. I'm Aaron Brightman and honored to have Rutgers basketball great Mike Dabney, recent inductee of the Knights of Honor, with us tonight to talk about his great career at Rutgers. Mike, thanks so much for being here.
It's my pleasure, Aaron.
So first off, just wanted to ask you about the Knights of Honor, how you found out about it, and overall just what it's meant to you these last couple of weeks, having that experience, having your jersey now up in the rafters at Jersey Mike's Arena.
Well, how I was notified was Steve Pikiell and the athletic director, Pat Hobbs, gave me a call, and I had no idea what they were calling about. And Steve Pikiell took the lead on that and shared with me the Knights of Honor and what it entailed, and the fact that my jersey and Eddie's and Hollis's would be going up in the rafters. And I was left speechless. I never envisioned that happening, but it was a wonderful ceremony. The day before we got together and had a little bite to eat and talked about some things, and obviously the next day during halftime of the game, we were honored. Fortunately, we got a chance to see it before the fans got to see it the day before. But it was just it was unreal just to see the jerseys up there. I thought it was a great thing to do, and I thought Steve Pikiell, who spearheaded that, should be commended. I mean, it makes a lot of sense for our jerseys to be up there. As I had mentioned before, our records are still there, almost 50 years later. So sometimes you have to make exceptions. I know Rutgers has a high criteria for having your jersey up in the rafters. Now our jerseys won't be retired, but they are in the rafters. And to me, that's every bit as good as being retired. But the feeling I got when I was out there at half court, I mean, it was almost like I was in the game. That type of adrenaline. And the fans, they're just so gracious. I mean, it's incredible, the fan response. But once again, Steve Pikiell and the administration who bought into that idea, I'm forever grateful for that.
Yeah, I mean, there's no question that first of all, your whole crew, the multiple seasons that you had with the program, most successful senior class, and then the 1976 Final Four team, without question, the greatest team in program history. To have all five of you now have your jerseys up in the rafters, I think is completely appropriate and a really awesome thing. And I'm sure for you to go through it, with Eddie and Hollis, I know James Bailey was there as well. What was that whole experience? Just the four of you being together. Obviously, the recent loss of Phil Sellers, a terrible thing, but for you guys to all get together soon after and have this positive thing going on, how was that, just being with them that weekend to celebrate?
Oh, it was fantastic. We always have great times when we get together. Lots of laughs, lots of reminiscing. But the stories never grow old. We always have a great time. We really do. And as I said, the 2 days we spent together, it was great. And I hadn't seen James Bailey in a long time. And James was a key piece to our Final Four team, just like everybody else on that team. But he was a shot blocker. And as I've mentioned before, it allowed Eddie and I to make gambling plays on defense because we knew we had him back there to reject any shot if we did get beaten that badly that we couldn't recover. But James, he deserved to be drafted number 6 in the NBA. He probably could have went higher, but he understood his role. He understood his strengths and weaknesses, and he was a really great addition, and I'm glad Tom Young saw in him as a starter versus someone coming off the bench.
Yeah, the dynamic of that team really was unbelievable, and averaging the thing that sticks out to me is averaging 93 points a game before the 3-point line.
Yeah.
Really is remarkable, and I wanted to ask you about that, just in terms of the difference in the game today. Obviously, you guys were known for getting out in transition, creating havoc defensively. You led the team in steals, over 100 in that Final Four season, and then averaged 19 points a game, right behind Phil Sellers. In terms of kind of the cohesiveness of that starting five, it seemed to all just kind of really come together, and you had that magical season. What kind of sticks out to you now, just thinking back about it all these years later?
I'd have to say the cohesiveness, um, the chemistry we had. There was there was no animosity. There was no jealousy. There was no, give me the ball. It was my turn to shoot. Uh, we were so compatible, and we genuinely cared about each other. To this very day, we genuinely care about each other. And like I said, there was zero animosity on that team, and we all played to make our teammates better. Whoever was on the floor at the time, we all played to make that person better or put that person in a spot to do well, whether it was Phil, whether it was Ed or Hollis or James Bailey. We had, a couple of nice pieces coming off the bench, Abdel Anderson, Steve Heffley. We just had, Jeff Kleinbaum, he was known for scoring 100 points on a regular basis. I think he did it 7 times. But it's just a chemistry, and that's what's lacking, I think, a lot in today's basketball. Just a genuine chemistry, caring about each other. You can see certain teams that have great chemistry and they're successful, but that's what it takes now. And obviously, you have to have a high basketball IQ to be successful on the court these days. I don't see a lot of great basketball IQs when I'm watching college basketball now, and that's so important. I think AAU ball has really changed the way players, when they get to the collegiate level, how they perform on the court.
Yeah, I definitely agree with you there, and I think also the fact that so many of you guys were together for that 4-year period, and had those relationships over time, and kind of went through it in terms of, I guess, how much of a responsibility did you feel back then in terms of, were you able to feel the big picture at all in terms of what it meant to the program and your lasting impact, or was it very much kind of more in the moment, just having that love of playing together?
It was more in the moment, no doubt about it. I truly got to appreciate it probably 5 or 10 years after the fact. But while I was in it, it was a surreal type situation. But I made a statement. I don't know if we had 6 games left or 8 games left. I said, I was just being honest. I said, I really don't foresee us losing any games the rest of the year, because we owed some teams, and the way we were playing, and defense transitions to great offense, and our defense was just top notch. We could stop teams from getting over half court 3 or 4 times straight. That's how fast we were and how defensive minded we were.
I've always wanted to ask you about the last game of the regular season. It's pretty much folklore at this point at the barn. You hit those game-winning free throws at the end. Legend has it, paint chips were falling off the roof with the celebration of clinching that perfect regular season. What was that whole experience like at the end, and just in terms of the kind of the raucousness of just the experience of finishing that regular season undefeated, doing something that is so unique and hard to do.
Yes, St. Bonnie's, they came in sky high. They really wanted to break our win streak. There was no doubt about it. They were on their A game. They really brought it. For 36, 37 minutes, they brought it to us. Our back was to the wall. And I think for about 5 seconds, maybe I thought we were going to lose. And then I came to my senses and I said, there's no way we're going to lose this game. No way. And fortunately, a couple of good things happened. I drew a charge and get the ball back. And I can't remember if Phil scored or Howell scored, but I think it was Phil. I'm pretty sure it was Phil. Um, that put us up by two, I think. And then that's when the foul occurred. And, I made the two free throws. And I wanted to be on the spot. I wanted to be the man on the spot. I really wanted to be, I never hitting a game. I'd never hit a game winning shot in my life, but I wanted to be there on the free throw line to clinch the victory. I savored the moment. I really did.
Well, that's a pretty cool to not have it had a game winner before to then clinch an undefeated regular season is pretty amazing. And then obviously your tournament run and you run into rival Princeton, some amazing games over the years in that rivalry, and obviously the oldest rival that Rutgers has. And then you get that game clinching rebound off the free throw miss. You win by 1 point. What was that like in terms of I guess the difficulty of playing your rival in the NCAA tournament, and then also just surviving the way you guys were able to?
Yeah, Princeton always played us tough. They really did, and we had a really good victory at Jadwin Gym down in Princeton during the season. Armand Hill had gotten in foul trouble, and they were trying to run the clock down to get him back in the game. Run some time off the clock and try and pull it out in the last 3 or 4 minutes, I guess. But I was fortunate enough to pick off a pass and go in for a layup, and that was pretty much the backbreaker there. It kind of put the game out of reach. But the game against Princeton out in Rhode Island, that was a really tough game. I mean, it was unbelievably close throughout the whole game. And, when he went to the line, Hollis has mentioned this before, when he went to the line, he didn't look like somebody who wanted to be there. He didn't look like he was embracing the moment and say, yeah, I'm the man. I'm going to get this done. But he missed the front end of the 1-and-1, and that was the bottom line. Coach had called 2 timeouts before the referee began to hand him the ball just to try and ice him a little bit, and I guess that worked too. But when I look back on it, that one game could have just spoiled our whole season, and fortunately, it didn't.
Yeah, obviously, the Final Four run, undefeated, getting there, and also had to be pretty cool that it was in Philadelphia to be so
Mm-hmm.
close to Rutgers. What do you remember just in terms of what it felt like to be on campus and how the university and community embraced you guys and just the specialness of that season as a whole?
I'm just so happy that we brought the kind of joy that we did to New Jersey and the metropolitan area. I mean, people who probably never followed Rutgers before were tuning in to watch us, and probably some were rooting us on, and some were hoping we lose. But I think overall, people were very happy about our success, and um, you know, did whatever did whatever they had to do to get a ticket to come watch us play. But the barn, unfortunately, was a very small venue. But we played in Madison Square Garden a lot, so people got a chance to see us play there too.
Yeah, obviously a unbelievable venue in its own right. And just in terms of, I did want to ask. I saw that Dick Vitale had tweeted and congratulated you guys for being in the Knights of Honor. I know that he was part of your recruitment and coming to Rutgers. What was your relationship like with him, and how influential was he just in terms of you ultimately coming to Rutgers?
He is the main reason I went to Rutgers. Being perfectly honest, seeing Rutgers play before I committed. Never seen him play. Excuse me. But he was at a lot of my games. He would write me letters. I'd get once a week, twice a week letters from him. And he told me, if you come to Rutgers, we can do some exciting things. They were working on some other recruits as well. Phil came into the picture a little bit later, but I just felt that I wanted to have my family be able to see me play because I was going to go to the University of Dayton, And at the last moment, Dick just convinced me that we can go far if you come, because other people will come too if you come, that can help the program. And I looked at the big picture, and like I said, I had never seen Rutgers play, but I went for it. I believed in what he was saying because he was so passionate about his conviction that we would do well if I came, and we got some other people of my caliber to come. But Dick and I still we text and talk every now and then, and I'm very grateful that he pursued me in the manner that he did. Things worked out very well.
Well, Rutgers fans definitely agree with that. For those that don't know, how great of a coach Tom Young was. What was it about him that got the most out of you and your teammates throughout your career, but obviously also in that undefeated Final Four run?
That's a good question, but two words that come to mind are fairness, treat everybody the same, and preparation. He was always prepared, whether it was preparation about the other team's habits, what their strengths and weaknesses were, and practices. Practices were just, incredibly fine tuned. There was no wasted time whatsoever. We had a certain number of minutes we would do this drill, certain number of minutes we would scrimmage, certain number of minutes we'd work on free throw shooting. It was just really precise in the preparation.
Uh, and obviously, he had a very good career at Rutgers, and ultimately did leave, but was a great coach everywhere he was. How much did you stay in touch with him throughout your post following your career at Rutgers, and as the years went by?
Oh, absolutely. I kept in touch with him. I went to California for 12 years, and still stayed in touch, pretty much with everybody. Stayed in touch with him and my teammates. And then when I came back to the East Coast, it was great because I got a chance to be around, all the fellas and him whenever we'd have our reunions or whenever we'd get together as a team. And it's always great when we get together. It really is. I mean, we all were sad about, Phil's passing, uh, but there's an old saying: from the moment we're born, we begin to die, and that's a truism. It's just a matter of when and where. But Phil was a great teammate, and if he hadn't turned his approach to the game around, we might not have been successful because he was used to being the man, and he was used to being the soul of the universe of a team.
Hmm.
And when he saw that he could trust the rest of his team and he didn't need to do everything, we became successful. We went to the NCAA our junior year and played Louisville, who ended up in the Final Four, and they were a very, very good team. And we held our own for a majority of the game.
Hmm.
But from that point forward, we knew we had a really good team, and we knew the next year that I couldn't see us losing more than one game. When we looked at the schedule coming back our senior year, I just didn't see us losing more than one game, and that was only because I didn't know who the teams were in the Christmas tournament in Georgia. And we ended up winning the Christmas tournament. That's the first time Rutgers had won a Christmas tournament. But to backtrack a little bit, Phil and I had actually entertained going hardship our junior year. And Coach had us talk with a couple of representatives as to where they think we might go in the draft. And they really couldn't give us any indication of how high we would be drafted. So once again, we looked back to the schedule and said, man, losing one game, that's ingredients for NCAA tournament. And we ended up staying, and things worked out very well for us.
And that's great insight. And it is a blessing that you were able to have that 40th reunion in 2016 at the rack. And I believe it was Purdue that it was. And obviously, Eddie was coach then. you know, I guess looking back on it now and the way things have gone of late, not being able to have that for your 50th, how much do you cherish that moment and just the memories of having and Tom Young and everything like that?
Oh, it was great. Like I said, we're family. After going through the wars that we went through, the victories, the losses, the good times, the bad times, we're family. There's no doubt about it. They're my brothers.
And talking about family, I did want to ask, what's it been like for you? I know your daughter was a very successful high school player and played at Sacred Heart or her college career. I know she played with Coach Pikiell's daughter as well. What was it
Right.
like for you to be able to watch her be, have her own, success as a player in her own career?
Oh, I didn't miss a game. I loved watching her play. She has my competitiveness, but I thoroughly enjoyed watching her play. Win, lose, draw didn't make a difference. Just seeing her out there on the court playing, um, it just it brought me so much joy. And she did a great job academically. She finished in 3 years, and then
Wow.
she got her master's in her fourth year. Yeah.
That's amazing, and I'm a father of two younger kids, so I can only imagine as they get older, and for you to be able to watch your daughter like that must have been an amazing experience. Just in terms of your relationship with Coach Pikiell, and I guess your thoughts just in terms of the job he's done. Obviously, through the years there were some lean times, I'll say, for the program, and for him to have kind of restored things and bring the program back to the level of winning they have. What's it been like for you, with your perspective of your career and seeing what he's been able to do in these recent years?
Coach Pikiell is a great ambassador for the university, incredible ambassador. I gave him a nickname, the Promise Keeper, because he made some promises and when he came on board, and he's kept those promises. And the fact that every player has graduated, I think that's impressive. That's extremely impressive. But he's done a super job. Um, it's very competitive. Recruiting is very competitive. You have these new rules with NIL and the transfers, and it's just a whole different world now. But he's done a great job of finding him. He and his staff has done a great job of finding diamonds, um, rough diamonds, I should say, and turned them into better players.
Absolutely, and I saw your comment somewhere. I think it might have been with NJ.com, but I think you were asked about the 2024 recruiting class, and obviously Dylan Harper and Ace Bailey coming to Rutgers. How excited are you and the rest of your teammates just in terms of the potential for this program now to take another step forward? After all these years, after you guys elevated it the way you did.
Oh, it's going to be incredible. I mean, they're both incredibly athletic players. I mean, bright. Uh, they understand the game. Good high IQs. They're going to be so exciting. It's going to be impossible to get a ticket to Rutgers game next year, I'm sure. But they'll be one and done most likely. And if that's the case, then they're going to have to uh, put all their efforts and energy to get us deep into the NCAA tournament because that's what's going to be expected of them. And they're going to have pressure on them. And a lot of players respond to pressure. They relish the moment. And I think those two are that type of player. And we're going to have some players coming back that's going to really complement them extremely well, I believe.
Yeah, absolutely. And as you guys were, being the senior and having experience matters, and even more so now with COVID and guys playing their fifth year, sixth year. They're definitely going to have some balance there.
Yep, that's for sure. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, hopefully, you having your jersey in the rafters, make sure you're able to get a seat into home games next season.
I'll find a seat somewhere.
uh, Mike, thank you so much for your time. And I have to say, you were talking about how you got to see your jersey hanging the day before, and that video that Chris Corso took of, you and Eddie and Hollis and James was there, just all you guys looking up in awe and seeing
Yeah.
your jerseys up there was a really cool moment just for fans like me that got to see how much it meant to you, and it was an honor talking to you about your career and how much you and your teammates have meant to Rutgers, and thank you for all you've done.
Aaron, it's been a pleasure, man. Take care of yourself.
All right. Thank you. And
All right.
thanks for listening once again.
All right. Take care.